AITA for making my husband's family leave after they showed up with an extra guest? My husband, 36M, and I, 34F, recently hosted a small, intimate dinner at our home for his family. We carefully planned everything, seating arrangements, food, and even table settings since it was meant to be a cozy evening with just close family. We invited 8 people, his parents, siblings, and 1 cousin. I took extra care with the menu because I have severe food allergies to nuts and shellfish. I cooked everything myself to avoid cross-contamination, and my husband helped plan the dishes accordingly. Since it was a sit-down dinner with a pre-planned meal, it wasn't the type of gathering where you could just add another plate last minute. An hour before dinner, my MIL texted me, saying she was bringing my husband's aunt, her sister, because she was in town and had nowhere else to go. I was immediately uncomfortable. This aunt has mocked my allergies before, saying she doesn't believe in all that nonsense and even once tried to convince me to just take a bite of a dish containing nuts because she thought I was exaggerating. I texted MIL back, politely but firmly, saying, "I'm so sorry, but we don't have extra seating or enough food planned for another guest. I hope you understand." She didn't respond. Instead, she just showed up with the aunt anyway. When I opened the door and saw her standing there, I felt my stomach drop. MIL was all smiles, acting like nothing was wrong, and said, "It's just one more person. We'll squeeze in." I reminded her that we didn't have enough food, and more importantly, I didn't feel comfortable having someone who has disrespected my food allergies at my dinner table. My husband's aunt laughed and said, "Oh, don't worry, I won't poison you," in a sarcastic tone. She then turned to my husband and said, "Is she always this uptight?" At that moment, something inside me snapped. This wasn't just about the extra guest, it was about the complete disrespect for my boundaries and health. I turned to my MIL and said, "I told you we didn't have room for another person, and yet you still showed up. I don't appreciate being ignored in my own home. If you can't respect that, you're welcome to leave." Silence. Then Mill's face turned red, and she said, "Are you seriously kicking us out over any extra plate? This is beyond rude." My husband's siblings jumped in, calling me dramatic and ungracious, saying I could have made something extra or just dealt with it. But I stood my ground. I told them that I wasn't okay with my boundaries being ignored, and if they couldn't accept that, they didn't have to stay. At that point, my MIL scoffed, grabbed her purse, and stormed out. The rest of the family followed, grumbling about how I ruined dinner over something so small. My husband didn't say much during the argument, but after they left, he told me he understood my frustration but thought I could have handled it more tactfully instead of outright telling them to leave. Now, his family is furious with me, saying I was cold, inhospitable, and made a scene over something trivial. MIL even called my husband later, saying she was hurt that we chose to humiliate her over something so minor. My husband still supports me, but he also admitted he wishes I had handled it differently to avoid this huge rift. So, AITA for refusing to accommodate an unexpected guest and making them leave when they ignored my clear boundaries?